Hello class 8, welcome to your history class. Today I'm going to start a very new chapter from your Indian history. So I'm going to start chapter number 3, that's India in the 18th century. So in this chapter, we'll study about the political, social and economic conditions of Indians during 18th century, right? So not only that, we'll also come to know about the late Mughals, the emperors after Aurangzeb, right? And we'll also analyze and examine the causes for the decline of Mughal empire, and we'll also study about the rise of regional kingdoms, right? So wasting no time, let's get started. Okay, we know that during 16th century, Mughal came to India and they started their supremacy in India, right? But first half of the 18th century, we can see the graph of declining of Mughal empire and emergence of new political groups in India, right? So in this chapter, we'll read about the emergence of new political groups in the subcontinent, that is India, during the first half of the 18th century, right? Roughly from 1707. Why? Because in 1707, the strongest Mughal emperor, that is Aurangzeb, was died. So we can say that from 1707, from the death of Aurangzeb to the third battle of Panipat in 1761. So that period, we can say that period was a period of decline of Mughal empire, right? Okay, now let's start the topic, the crisis of the empire and the later Mughals. The Mughal Empire, after reaching its height of success, started facing a variety of crises towards the closing years of 17th century. They were caused by a number of factors. So we know that after at the end of 17th century, we can see the graph of declining of Mughal Empire, right? So there were number of factors for the decline of Mughal Empire. Number one is later Mughals were very weak, so it became increasingly difficult for them to keep a check on emerging powerful Mansabdars. So we know that later Mughals. So when we talk about later Mughals means the Mughal emperor after Aurangzeb. They are later Mughals. So later Mughals were very, very weak. Very weak means they didn't have the spirit of consolidating their territory, right? So they were very weak, and it became increasingly difficult. It became increasingly difficult for them, those emperor, to keep check on emerging of Mansabdar. So we know Mansabdar means a holder of an office or dignity, or and Mansab being a rank determined by command of a specified number of men. So that means we can say it's a Mughal official, right? So it became very difficult for those weak Mughal emperor, to keep eye on those Mansabdars, right? Okay. Second reason is nobles appointed as governor, Subedar, often control the offices of revenue. Revenue means collection of taxes. They controlled over that department, revenue department, and military department also. And military department, that time it was known as Diwani and Fauzdar, right? As well. This gave them extraordinary power, political, economic, and military powers over vast region of the Mughal Empire, as the governors consolidated their control over the provinces, over the area, and the periodic remissions of revenue to the capital declined. So this was also one of the causes for the decline of Mughals, because the Subedars, they started what they started like they were appointed by the emperor to collect the tax, right, from the territories, but they they knew the condition of Mughal emperor, right? So, seeing that condition, they started controlling over the department, like revenue department or your military department, right? So, this was the cause for the decline of Mughal Empire, right? Okay. Now, next is peasants and zamindars who were under pressure due to mounting taxes also rebelled in many parts of northern and western India. So, rich people, emperor, they were not affected, right? Only the peasants, workers, zamindars, they were affected because they had to pay in terms of money or in terms of crops to the government, right, to the emperor. So only the peasants, zamindars, and the workers were affected, and because of that reason, due to under pressure due to mounting taxes, they rebelled against the uh, government, against the emperor, right? So this was also one of the causes for the decline of Mughal Empire. Next, next reason is the Mughal emperor after Aurangzeb were unable to check the gradual shifting of political and economic authority into the hands of provincial governors, local chieftains, and other groups. So, as this I already discussed with you that Aurangzeb, after the death of Aurangzeb, the Mughal emperor were very weak, so they could not check the on emerging power of Mansabdars, Subedars, and Fauzidari, right? So this was also one of the reasons for the decline of Mughal Empire, because they were unable, the weak rulers or weak emperor after Aurangzeb were unable to check the gradual shifting of political and economic authority in the hands of uh, governors, subedars, local chieftains, and other groups, right? Okay. Now, next, in the midst of this economic and political crisis, the ruler of Iran, named as Nadir Shah, attacked India and plundered the city of Delhi, right? In 1739, and took away enormous wealth from Delhi, from India, right? So this invasion was followed by a series of plundering raids by the Afghan ruler, that is Ahmad Shah Abdali, who invaded North India 5 times between 1748 to 1761. Just underline this, very important. So this was also one of the causes for the decline of Mughal Empire, because already in the midst of this economic and political crisis, Nadir Shah attacked India and looted a lot of treasure and um, and amount, right, amount of wealth from India. Not only that, the Afghan ruler Ahmad Shah Abdali, he invaded India, North India 5 times and looted a lot of amount, a lot of wealth, treasure between 1748 to 1761, right? Okay. So here we have completed this causes of various causes for the decline of Mughal Empire. Now next is rise of independent kingdoms. With the decline in the authority of the Mughal emperors, the governors of large provinces, because governors, subedar, and fauzidar, they became the uh, ruler of independent authority of independent states, right? So the governors of large provinces, subedar and the big zamindar, consolidated their authority, right, in different parts of the subcontinent, different parts of India. Through the 18th century, the Mughal Empire gradually fragmented into a number of independent regional states. So, at the end of the 18th century, the Mughal Empire, the big consolidated Mughal Empire, had been fragmented, had been divided into many independent Indian states, right? Okay, let's talk about the first independent state, that is Hyderabad. So after Hyderabad, we'll talk about Awadh and Bengal also. Okay, let's begin with the state Hyderabad. Nizamuddin Asaf Jah, also known as Chin Quilij Khan, was the founder of Hyderabad state, right? So, and he was one of the most powerful members at the court of Mughal Emperor Farooq Siyar. He played an important role in overthrowing the Sayyid brothers. He was appointed as a governor of Awadh and later given charge of the Deccan. Deccan means peninsular India, South India, Deccan, right? So as the Mughal governor of the Deccan provinces, Asaf Jah already had full control over its political and financial administration, right? So taking advantage of the turmoil in the Deccan in the south, the competition amongst the court nobility, he gathered power in his hands and founded the Asaf Jahi dynasty. So there only he founded his dynasty, which came to be known as Asaf Jahi dynasty. Asaf Jah brought skilled soldiers and administrators from the northern India who availed the new opportunities in the south. So he appointed or he brought skilled soldiers from and administrators from the north to his territory, South India, right? And he appointed mansabdars and granted jagirs. Although he was still an ally of the Mughal emperor, he ruled quite independently without seeking any direction from Delhi or facing any interference. The state of Hyderabad was constantly engaged in struggle against the Marathas to the west and with independent Telugu warrior chief, that is Nayakas, of the plateau. The ambitions of Nizam to control, Nizam means Asaf Jah, to control the rich textile producing areas of the Coromandel coast in the east were checked by the British, who were becoming increasingly powerful in that region. So you can see here map B. So map B is here. You can see through this map, this is a Coromandel coast, right? Coromandel coast. So he wanted to get supremacy in this Coromandel coast. Why? Because this is very rich in textile producing area. That Coromandel coast is what? It's a rich textile producing area. So he wanted to have control over that Coromandel coast, right? Okay, now next is Awadh. Let's talk about Awadh. Burhan-ul-Mulk Khan, Sadat Khan, was appointed as a Subedar of Awadh in 1722. So he founded a state which was one of the most important to emerge out of the breakup of Mughal Empire. Why? Because that Awadh was very rich and prosperous with the fertile soil, right? So that Awadh was a prosperous region controlling the rich alluvial Ganga plain and main trade route between the between North India and Bengal. So Burhan-ul-Mulk also held the combined offices of Subedari, Diwani and Fauzidari, or we can say he was the controller of political, financial and military affairs of the province. Why? Because he was the head of military department, finance department, that is Diwani, and your Subedari, right? Administrative department. So politically, financially, and politically and financially, uh, he was made head of these three departments, right? And politically, physically, he was very strong because he was the controller of those departments. Now the Mughal decline provided him the desired opportunity to establish his own authority in the region. The major challenge that he faced after becoming the Subedar was the rebellion of local chieftains and Rajas of Awadh. Only the challenge he had to face was that after becoming Subedar, he had to face the revolt from the local chieftains and Rajas of that Awadh state. So in order to consolidate his position, he appointed some of the policies, some of the measures. Number one, what he did to get the full control, of Awadh. First is suppression of rebellious local jamindars and chieftains. Suppression means to get control, right? And second is curtailment of the authority of the local zamindars appointed by the Mughals. So whosoever is appointed by the Mughal, he made them he appointed this measure, curtailment of the authority. So curtailment means act of reducing something, right? So curtailment of the authority means shortening of or having control or reducing the power of the local zamindar appointed by the Mughals, right? So these were some of the measures he adopted to get a consolidated position in Awadh. Now next, in appointing local officials, he considered only their personal loyalty to him. He appointed only those officials who were very loyal to him. His motive became more clear when he nominated his son-in-law Safdar Jung as deputy governor of the province without the prior consent of the Mughal emperor, right? So after Sadat Khan, Safdar Jung pursued the same policies, means adopted the same policies, followed the same policies, so that the working of provincial administrations no longer dependent on the will of the Mughal emperor. So even sending of revenues, even sending taxes to Delhi became irregular. Between 1739 to 1764, Awadh emerged virtually as an autonomous state. So autonomous means an independent state. So an independent state means like the state which is free and have no external control. So Awadh became or virtually became an independent state, autonomous state, because there were several reasons. Number one, it started paying taxes, or it started sending taxes to Delhi irregularly, right? Secondly, like the working of the provincial administrations no longer depended on the will of the Mughal emperor. They were not asking the Mughal emperor to appoint any official to their territory, right? Okay. Now Safdar Jung extended his control over the Gangetic Plain. Gangetic Plain means the plain which is formed by Ganga river, right? Gangetic Plain means North India. Okay. The office of the imperial diwan was abolished. Abolished means finished. His successor, Suja ud-Dawla, also tried to consolidate the basis of autonomous political system, the same independent, the policy of independent, extension of independent political system in Awadh, right? In the process of establishment of autonomous state, independent state, the most remarkable development was the promotion and prosperity of new group of gentry. Gentry means ruling class, right? Or noble class or ruling class, who owed their allegiance. Allegiance means loyalty to the Awadh ruler and not to the Mughal ruler or Mughal emperor. So, point to be noted here, in the process of establishment of an independent state, the most remarkable development was that the promotion and prosperity of a new group, and that new group of gentry who owed their uh, loyalty towards the Awadh ruler, not towards the Mughal ruler, right? Okay, now, so here we have completed this topic, Awadh. um, Children, I'll take your leave now. I hope you have understood whatever I taught you in this class. I suggest you, after watching this video, just go through the chapter, read out, and just underline the important word and important line yourself, and consult dictionary also, so that you can write meaning of difficult words, right? Because self study is very important. Self study is must. Unless until you do self study, you'll not come to understand, right? So children, will meet in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.